the Whiteout game, the most raucous environment in all of college football. Drew Allar and the Penn State Nittany Lions host Dante Moore and the Oregon Ducks. This is one of the best games of the entire season, and we get this thing in September. I cannot imagine what that crowd is going to be like. I know some of you watching will be at this game. I know you're already excited. Want this thing to get kicked off immediately. College game day will be there. Thankfully, this will not be a big noon kickoff game, having a seat at 12. We get it at the Whiteouts at night in a top 10. This is an incredible matchup. We have to start with Penn State because the narrative about Penn State for so long as they beat all the junk teams, they can't beat the best teams in college football. It played out last year. Can't beat the Buckeyes in the regular season at home. Can't beat Oregon in the Big Ten champ game and lost to Notre Dame when it counted in the semifinals. Everything besides that, they were basically unbeatable. Now for Oregon going into this game, a team that was probably the second best team in college football a season ago. People are saying that they are faster, more physical, that they have a more dynamic quarterback in Dante Moore, a guy with a better arm, with the arm talent to distribute the football all over the field with the playmakers to make it happen, and a better offensive line is what they are being called going into this season, and that's some pretty high praise because they had a right tackle in Connolly that went in the first round to the Washington Commanders. Penn State, back to them, because Drew Allar needs this game. At some point, James Franklin has to win one of these. Now, by no means of law averages does it mean that you win one of these because, you have to. No, nothing has ever pointed to that. Teams have lost all of the big games when they played them, but Penn State, they have played these games relatively horribly. Let's just be honest. Against the Buckeyes a couple of seasons ago, they just could not score any points. Last year, could not score any points. Then they get the points going against Oregon in the Big Ten champ game. The defense, they've got guys throwing up on the sideline because they can't keep up with Oregon's speed. I'll tell you, this Oregon offense is fast. That true freshman wide receiver, Dakorien Moore, this kid can fly now. He's got a combination of Evan Stewart, who's not in this game. I got to say that's a huge factor. But he is one of the most talented freshman wide receivers that you can ever have to line up across, and that's saying something. Jeremiah Smith last year for Penn State, they did a good job of holding him. I believe that they will be able to match up with him, that they have guys on the outside to be able to line up. A.J. Harris, I'm looking at you. These are veteran players on this defense for Penn State, and immediately they need to set a tone that this is going to be a long day for number one, Dakorien Moore, that he's not just going to have free releases, it's going to be physical. Tony Rojas, if he comes over the middle, you're cracking him. Amari Campbell, same thing. King Mack, they have to set the tone from the first snap. This is going to be unlike any game Oregon has played. Maybe that Rose Bowl gives them a couple of flashbacks. Lathan Ransom, Caleb Downs laying the wood. But Penn State, let's keep it with them because the run game hasn't been as explosive as we'd expected. Nick Singleton, with the big runs we've been accustomed to from him, haven't really seen it. He's got the touchdowns. They haven't really played anyone yet. A little bit of concern there. Where's the 6.5, 6 yards a carry? That's what we've seen from Kaytron Allen, who so far has clearly been the better back this season. It's funny because in the offseason, I was texting I was like, who's better between Kaytron Allen and Nick Singleton? I heard that Nick Singleton was from just about everybody's mouth. I'm like, I've seen him play a ton. Big fan of the Big Ten. Who's better? So far right now is Kaytron Allen. We know how good these two guys are. For Oregon, their biggest weakness through the first couple of games has been stopping the run. Against Northwestern, I know they had a couple of guys out later on in that game. I'll give them a pass on that deeper run, but it's the run game. They have to be better stopping the run. Dan Lanning squad. This is an area going into this matchup, you know that he's a little bit concerned. They had a game last week, so they don't have the time off that Penn State did. So if I'm Penn State immediately, I'm giving that football to Kaytron Allen and Nick Singleton, not 20, 25, 30, but a combined 35 to 40 touches in this game, turning it into what Michigan did to you guys a couple of seasons ago, where they ran the ball, 32 times in a row in the second half, didn't even throw a pass. Not something quite to that extent, but establishing a tone. You have all these veteran offensive linemen, one of the best offensive lines in college football that can rival. I think it could be even better than Oregon's this season. We will find out on Saturday night, but that has to be the theme. Drew Allar, put him in favorable positions. Keep him in 2nd and 4. Keep him in 3rd and 2 so he doesn't have to drop back to pass. And number 10 coming off the edge, Matayo Uiagalelei, the best edge player in the Big Ten. And I'm saying that with my full chest. You know, Denai Dennis Sutton's a great player, but Matayo Uiagalelei, the sophomore, he is darn dominant off the edge, expecting him to have a really big game. But speaking of Denai Dennis Sutton, Zaki Wheatley, Zane Durant, these defensive players have been there for a while. They are all veteran. It's why so many people are comparing them to the Buckeyes from last year, to Michigan, to the previous Georgia teams that had retained all of that talent. And one of the biggest themes, again, was how veteran they are, how many returning players. Nobody quite like Penn State in the returning production, except for a key spot, which is different from those teams. Michigan had Colston Loveland, Ohio State had Emeka Ibuka, and Georgia had Brock Bowers. Who is that threat for Penn State? Because you had that threat in Tyler Warren, but who is that guy now? Who is that receiver? You brought in these guys. You brought in Trevor Pena. You brought in Kyron Hudson, Devontae Ross. Luke Reynolds has been there, expecting him to take the step. But I'm concerned with Penn State because through 3 games, we have not seen someone come out of the pack and establish themselves. Now, did the game script put you in a position where that was necessary, where you needed to throw the football? No, they could have won those games however way that they kind of wanted to, but you would have liked for someone to come out and establish it. Remember, this is a team that didn't complete a pass to a wide receiver in the college football playoff semifinal game against Notre Dame. Did not complete a single pass to a wide receiver. It was all Tyler Warren. If they don't even have a player like that over the middle, where can you turn to? Well, I believe you got to get the ball a little bit more to Nick Singleton out of the backfield. So who is that a key player that we have to circle on defense? He comes over from Purdue, Dylan Tiedemann. This kid is a monster, all-American caliber. Dylan Tiedemann comes in for the Oregon Ducks immediately, just a quick transplant type guy. On the outside, Naeem Offord, the youngster, he's been playing. He's been getting a ton of starting time on their question marks surrounding around him. Where I've liked the Oregon side, Bear Alexander in the middle of that defense, doesn't play last year. The transfer from USC a few seasons ago, he's been great. But Tiedemann, he can take away the tight end. He can cover the back out of the backfield if necessary. Athletic. Doesn't miss tackles. And then Bryce Bocher, Bryce, he's got to have an impact play. The takeaways in this game, they are so hard to predict because takeaways are kind of random sometimes. It's a tip. It's an overthrow. And like Urban Meyer said before the Ohio State-Texas game, keep the football out of the middle of the field. Who is going to take that first shot over the middle? Will it be Dante Moore or Drew Allar? Who has more faith as an offensive coordinator? Does Will Stein have faith in his quarterback, in Dante Moore, and battled at UCLA, sat behind Dylan Gabriel last year, that he will make a ripping throw over the middle of the field to Kenyon Sadiq for a gain of 23 yards right off the bat? 2nd and 6. They have a handoff. Maybe it's Mekhi Hughes. Maybe it's Joey Lamar. Looked like Mekhi Hughes is almost non-existent in this offense. We heard it talked about the whole offseason that Mekhi Hughes not really been a big factor in this offense. Noah Whittington, similar type of name, all these Oregon fans know about. I think it's Oregon. Early in the game, they take a shot over the middle of the field, and what happens? Because Drew Allar and Penn State, it feels like a game where they score 23 points. 24 points. They go out there, they run the football. It's a conservative game plan, and they go out there saying, okay, we're going to score 24. Our goal is to hold Oregon to 17 or 20. Stop the run. We trust our defensive backs. We trust that Denai Dennis Sutton will get there. We trust that Zane Durant will put pressure in Dante Moore's face. I truly believe this game comes down to the right arm of Dante Moore. Have been a little bit concerned that a number of his passes just come out a little bit wonky is the only way to describe it. Like the ball doesn't quite spin sometimes really well when he's under pressure or on the run, that we see guys throw a pretty clean ball. But Dante Moore, late in the game, maybe Oregon's down 4, 2:15, chance to go win it, or the down 3, chance to go tie it or take the lead at the end of it. There's no way I see this game played where it's a blowout, because the talent is so equated at quarterback, at offensive line, defensive line, linebacker, safety, every single position on the field is so similar that if this game played out 100 times, I truly believe that it would be about even. 49-51, 50-50, these teams would come out with an even result. That's why we're so fascinated by what ends up happening. It's amazing that we have this new era, that this is not the season. Oregon loses, their year's over. Penn State loses, and they're crying, and they got to go home because their season's over. A team can lose this game and still go on to win the national championship. Frankly, Ohio State lost this game to Oregon last year. They wound up beating Penn State, but they lost one of these. You can lose one of these and still have everything in your season playing for. I mean, heck, Indiana's going to be playing Penn State later on in the season. Oregon, they still have to play USC. They're playing Indiana right after this. Both these teams get a crack at Indiana, who looked really good. But if I have to say a team I think goes out there and wins this game, I'm going to say Penn State. I think Penn State gets the win 24-27. They beat them 27-24 at home. They get that stop when they need to. They stop Dante Moore. I've seen Dante Moore play in person, of course, with UCLA. The data's a little bit different because that was a different squad. But in that game, he threw a pick 6. I saw all the talent, but when it mattered, he didn't have a great performance. I'm trying to get my eyes around it. I'm expecting it to be different here in this game against Penn State, but when he went up against Cam Ward in that game in 2023, I was not thoroughly impressed. He's still the same guy. He's a different guy, but he's the same guy. I'm going with Penn State because what my eyes saw on that day, Penn State 27-23, they get the stop when they need to, and they come out with the win. Let me know down below in the comments who wins this game and why. Do you agree Penn State has what it takes? They run the football, they get the stop they need. Drew Allar plays well enough to win. Or is it Dante Moore and Oregon? They prove me wrong. They come out with a huge win and announce themselves. They are a team that can win the Big Ten again. And they can go on and be easily a national title contender on their route after a massive win. Let me know all that stuff down below. I appreciate you so much. We are so ready for this game. This is at the same time as Alabama, Georgia, the biggest season, weekend of the season. So excited for it. I know you are too. Let me know all that stuff down below. Please subscribe for more videos in the future. We are so fired up to go over these matchups, break down them, predict them, and then ultimately engage with you guys and get to feed off of all of that enthusiasm, energy, because football, college football, is a piece of the greatest thing on earth, which is the positive energy surrounding our sport of football we all love. So I appreciate you so much. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.
Best player in college football.
That Georgia and Ohio State game, New Year's Eve, is going to be a classic.
Josh Blunder. Hi, everybody. I'm Josh Blunder.
To the 40, 35, 30, Espinosa to the 20.